Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Finally, it feels like forever since I have sat down in my little studio here and actually recorded a video. Yes, I have pretty much been MIA for like a month now, but I promise I do have a good excuse. First of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Joanna Holden and I am a fantasy author, soon to be published fantasy author. So excited I get to say that. And an author tuber, I guess is the grammatically correct way to say that. But if I seem a little bit over peppy, it's because I am trying to stay awake, which is part of the reason I have been MIA. So if you didn't see my Instagram post, shameless plug there, you can find the links to all of my social media accounts down below in the description box. But I recently posted on Instagram that we are expecting again. My husband and I are pregnant again, and we are having a baby boy. I have been right in the middle of first trimester sickness and energylessness and all of that fun stuff, but I'm finally starting to come out of it a little bit. And so I am back with another video, and I have many other exciting videos coming. So enough about life stuff. Let's talk professional edits, because that is today's awesome video. Part of the reason that I wanted to make videos on YouTube was to chronicle my journey as a self-published author, and the professional edit is a huge, huge step toward self-publication. I wanted to share about my first experience, first time ever, hiring a professional editor. I'm going to have another one come out later this spring about my first experience with a cover designer, maybe like a checklist of self-publishing, stuff like that. But for right now, let's talk editors. Basically, this is going to turn into a rave review of my editor and their services because, oh my gosh, I could not have asked or imagined a more positive experience, especially for a first experience, because, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people where if I dip my toes in and I get burnt, it is really hard to try putting my toes back in again. So I'm just really, really, really grateful that I found my editor and that it worked out for us to work together. And oh my gosh, so I'm just going to get on to the experience. So the editor that I hired was Natalia Lee from Enchanted Ink Publishing. And I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know why self-published authors are so hesitant to talk about their editors, their cover designers. Maybe they're not hesitant. Maybe we don't think about it. But I, for one, am a huge fan of just sharing the news. When you find an editor or a cover designer or an artist or a marketer person or whatever, if you find a freelancer who is amazing, tell people about them, because it is really hard to find a good editor when you have no clue where to even look. I believe it was last September when I found out about Enchanted Ink Publishing and about the editing services, there you go, the editing services that were being made available. And so I sent out an email inquiring to see what kind of slots would be available, if Natalia was going to be working with middle grade, because I wasn't sure. I know that there are many editors who will only do a certain genre or a certain age range, and while I have heard a ton about YA and even just adult fiction, I haven't heard as much about middle grade. So I was sending out an inquiry to see, you know, if it worked or not. I got a positive response back. There were some openings. Middle grade was perfectly okay. And the very first thing that was offered immediately after that was a free sample edit. So I would send, I don't remember how many words, but basically I sent the first 2 chapters-ish. And I would get a free sample edit back to see if I liked the style of editing, to see if it worked well for both of us to work together. And I thought that was phenomenal. I had heard of people who did that. I had heard people who didn't. I was very excited to find an editor who was the one to suggest that, actually. So I got the sample edit back. I'm pretty sure it was in September. And I was like, yes, I loved this. Now, to be clear, the edit that I wanted was a copy edit. So basically like grammar, punctuation, and alignment, and maybe the occasional like consistency errors and phrasing and things like that. So I got the sample edit back, was incredibly excited with how how well it was done. I loved just everything about it. I loved her way that she commented on things and the way that she phrased her suggested changes when she actually suggested things. I loved that she threw in descriptions of why certain punctuation or certain grammatical things were an error so that I could make sure that I understood what was happening. I loved everything about the edit. So I sent it back, said, okay, just you're hired. Let's talk about money and time slots. So she told me she had a slot open in the winter. So I got that penciled into the calendar and asked about the pricing, and I got a really, really great price because at the time she was just getting started with the editing services, and so I was able to get a discounted price because, which I also think was just phenomenal of her to do, that because she wasn't quite, like she hadn't gotten her name out there as much, she was still, I think at that point, going through some training and getting her name, into the freelancing associations and things like that. She went ahead and gave people a discount because she wasn't a renowned editor, with perfect credentials and all that jazz. I thought that was really amazing. I thought that was really humble, and that was just honestly a great marketing way to get her name out there and to get people to come in. So I agreed to the price, and I really should say about how much I paid, but I honestly don't remember the exact number. It was a really good number. It was 300. It was just under $350, which again, phenomenal. Now, caveat here, my book is only 42,000-ish words long. So I think probably if it had been an 84,000 word book, it would have probably been double that. But I was very happy with the price range, like the price per word and things like that. So we penciled in the date, got everything set up, and then my mind went to sleep. I'm not sure where I went. It was on holiday somewhere, but I did not think to continuously check my emails throughout the next couple of months, because I also had sent her an email asking if I could go ahead and reserve a slot in 2020 for Littlehood. Well, lo and behold, I get up right up to like the last week before the month that I had kind of blocked off for the edit, and I kept thinking, why have I not heard back from? What is going on? I don't understand. I kept checking my email. Nothing was coming through my email. Like, something is fishy here. I don't know. So I went to email her back, actually, and I realized that I had been assuming. This is where it gets a little bit mixed up here. So again, and this was before pregnancy brain too, so I have no excuses here. But I basically have 3 accounts. I have my personal account. I have my professional account, which is like what I have up on my website for people to send me emails and things like that. It's what I use for most things as far as like contact me kind of stuff. And then I have an additional one that I have as like a secondary professional email that I like to use for money related things where like I'm paying for things. So like how I pay my website and how I pay for, all the different things. We like to have multiple accounts. And I have been talking to the cover designer through the secondary business account. I have been talking to the editor through the primary business account. Neither one of those 2 accounts was synced to my new phone because I had gotten a new phone. So here I had been looking for emails and waiting for an email on my personal account that had actually gone through a primary business account. So even when I went and looked on my secondary email account, because I thought for sure that's where I would have sent it if I was spending money, nothing. Well, I finally looked on the other one, and lo and behold, she had been emailing me for about 3 weeks trying to get a hold of me to see if I was still interested in the edit. Duh. Yeah, I felt like an absolute idiot. Pretty sure I looked like one too. But she was incredibly gracious and understanding. She said, it's okay, let's just start the process over again here and we'll get this edit done. So she sent me an entire email full of amazing materials prior to starting the edit, which I thought was so great. I got a contract, I got a style sheet, which told me what kind of stuff that she was looking for and how it would be going through. I don't remember all the other things, but I do remember that it was very important to her personally that we get a contract signed and okayed. And so we went through that process. I got the contract signed and everything was good to go. And I sent her my manuscript. just side note here, I've heard it said so many times, and I've experienced it personally in other business ventures not related to writing, get it in writing. Even if it's just an email agreement, that the emails are the in writing, but a contract is preferable. If possible, get a contract. And if there's no contract, you better tread carefully. Anywho, I sent the manuscript, I waited, and I continued working on other projects. That was something that I really appreciated that she did, was not only did she give me a start date, a definitive, this is the day that we start on, but she also gave me a definitive, this is when I'll have it back by the latest, short of an emergency of some kind, which both were kind of scooted down a little bit because of the little email mix-up, but it ended up working out fine. So I actually got the edits back while on vacation, so I wasn't even able to look at them until I got back home. And then, of course, when I got back home, symptoms set in. So I wasn't able to start applying the edits right away. But I will say that she sent back a lovely letter that was like intended to detail like any additional changes that she saw maybe needed to be made. It was very short, very sweet, super encouraging, and I was really appreciative of her professional yet almost mentor-like attitude. Like the way that she talked about every change that needed to be made, the way that she always ensured that I knew that I was the author, it was always going to be my call, and that if I felt that whatever this change was necessary, that was the only reason that I should do it. But she also always made sure to say, I'm a reader, I'm an editor, this is what I think. I really appreciated that balance between, you know, being the person telling you what to do, but also understanding that I'm ultimately the author. I thought that was just a really, really great balance to have, and felt very professional to me, as well as very personalized, which I know a lot of times in the business world, you can get stuff that is just so vague and just generalized, and you feel like you're just another one of the bolts on the conveyor belt. That's not what this felt like at all. This felt like she had taken the time to work with me personally and was viewing me as a person, not as a paycheck, which I thought was just phenomenal. I told you this was going to be a rave review. So I got the manuscript back. I looked it over, started going through the edits, and again, it was a copy edit, so it was very, very simple, very quick, easy kinds of changes. And I will also throw in there that I had cleaned up the manuscript as much as humanly possible before I sent it to her. I had found every grammatical or punctuation or clunky sentencing error that I could find, and I fixed it as much as I could before I sent it. So when I sent it, it was a relatively clean manuscript. So I think part of the reason why it was so fast for me to apply changes was because there wasn't a ton of like overhaul type work. Like when I got letters back from beta readers, it was like a couple of months worth of work of overhauling and rethinking things and rearranging scenes and rearranging this and adding stuff on and having to delete whole sections. This was just clean, concise, short, to the point, little things, little nitpicky things, and it was littered with them, but it was very encouraging to look through and see that I was getting toward the end. I was almost finished. I would say that applying the edits probably took me about 3 weeks total, but 2 of those weeks I only worked 1 or 2 days on the project. Again, because of symptoms, it has just been really hard for me to keep at writing for pretty much all of January and into February. But I did get them finished. Book is now ready to go. I'm just finishing formatting, and of course I will send it to a proofreader before the final, like, this is it. But yeah, that is my story of my first professional edit. I cannot put into words how much it meant to me that Natalia and that Enchanted Ink Publishing editing services took my book and worked with my book, and just the experience that I had was incredible. I have found the editor for my fairy tales. Let me just put it that way. I was so pleased and so encouraged by that, again, that personalized feel and yet that professional level of editing. I mean, overall, again, it was just an amazing experience, and I cannot recommend her highly enough. If you are looking for an editor, then I would recommend you at least send an inquiry email. There we go. Send an inquiry email and just start up a conversation, see if she has any slots available, maybe send a sample edit. You should go look at her website. I will have her website linked in the description box below, so you can go find her. That's all I have for you today, and I just hope that this encourages you. We hear so many horror stories and total nightmares of people who get scammed, who get just run over by editors, who get just all kinds of horrible things happen in the editing world. And I just hope this encourages you, even if you already have a great editor, to know that there are other great editors out there and that you can have an amazing experience with a professional editor. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and consider subscribing on the way out. I post videos all about the writer journey, fantasy writing, and of course updates on my own books which will be coming out very, very soon. So keep an eye out for those. Again, another one coming on my first experience with a cover designer, as well as the self-publishing journey. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the weekend writing, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!